Right.
Good evening, everybody. This is Robin with another edition of Horror Pop After Midnight. And tonight, I have two special guest co-hosts on here with me tonight. Christina.
Hello, hello.
And my good little buddy, David. How's it going, David?
It's going great, Robin. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. And today, we're going to be talking about Top Gun Maverick because we all went and saw it this past Thursday night at the movie theater. 36 years in the making. Well worth it, Top Gun Maverick. We also got to give a shout out to Tyler, who was with us, who wasn't able to make it to be on this podcast. Tyler, if you're listening to this, we love you, brother, and I salute you. So during the Memorial Day weekend so far, Top Gun broke a record. It made $150 million at the box office. That's a lot of money for a sequel, really. I mean, there's some big blockbuster sequels that made that, but from, the original Top Gun 36 to Maverick making it, it seems like everybody out there wanted to see Tom Cruise as Maverick again.
I think so too. And I think at this day and age, I think it's what America needs, to show that pride in what Americans can do and what we can do with our military. And Tom Cruise, of course, is just such a great actor. But what a wonderful display of all the neat things that the Navy can do.
Yes, the Navy did a lot of great things. And I love how they brought Val Kilmer back, Iceman. Yes. He went up to the ranks through the Navy. He was an admiral. Mm-hmm. And, of course, he was protecting, Pete Mitchell. It starts off, 36 years later, you see, Maverick is a test pilot. Mm-hmm. So, in the start of the film, you see him getting ready to test fly this Dark Star stealth airplane. And this plane is actually not really real. They made it for the movie. It looks so realistic. The Navy even told, executive producer Jerry Bruckheimer, since they made this plane so realistic, the Chinese turned around their satellites to take pictures and spy on the Dark Star stealth jet in the film. They thought it was a real military jet. What'd you think about that?
I thought it was interesting because China has so many inventions that. They're way ahead of us in technology-wise, but I wonder why they would specifically spy on us for that specific reason.
Well, I don't know if they're ahead of us, but they definitely are interested in our technology there. And I think that just shows you how innovative that not just, Hollywood is at creating things that we could actually fool their spy satellites.
I think that's great because if you see the pictures of it, I thought it was realistic too. Because remember the SR-71, now they're getting ready to do an SR-72, SR-172, which is coming out. Maybe China thought, the prop for the Dark Star was the SR-72.
I say keep fooling them. And, keep making those bogeys.
I think so too, which is pretty cool. And the thing I liked about the film as well, I'm going to ask you, David, what did you think about all the aerial fights and the aerial stunts in the film that were going in these F-18s?
I thought they were pretty cool. I mean, the stunts that they did, the Cobra maneuver, and how Maverick could stun the pilots. What he does with the plane, and how they don't know and how they do know where he is, but they don't know specifically where he is.
Mm-hmm. That's very smart. And the cool thing about this is another fun fact is, Tom Cruise and all the actors went through months of extensive flight training. So they are really flying in the planes. Legit. No CGI. You can tell when you go see the movie. You'll be like, yeah, Robin, you're right. It's not CGI. But there was a few things that was a little CGI, certain things, but it was all real. And you know how you see Tom Cruise, flying off the aircraft carrier. He's in the jet, but he's not actually flying in the front part of the jet. He's sitting in the back seat.
Known as the gunner seat. The back seat is the gunner. And then, because you can't CGI which I'm so glad that they didn't use CGI for these effects, but you just can't fake that on the effects that it has on the human body. The G-forces, like the way it pulls back on the cheeks and the way it pulls on your face, and then it hits you in your chest, and then what the men have to do to maneuver and their breathing exercises as they're going up to the G's. You just can't fake that in CGI.
Yeah, so he was sitting in the back of the gunner's seat because, the Pentagon and the Navy and the military wouldn't let the actors or Tom Cruise touch the controls. So the studio paid the Navy $11,000 an hour for fighter jet rides. That is amazing. I wish I could have. I don't think I could have made that, man. My head would have squashed and I would have passed out anyway.
Right. Right. What do you think about that, David?
I mean, that's like a lot of money wasted an hour.
Well, not wasted. It's
well, no, I mean, it's not technically wasted. Sorry, wrong word. But that's a lot of money. Per hour.
Well, they think that they're going to make it up because they paid for it, and like Robin had said, it's already made $50 million, and the weekend's not
150 million.
Oh wow! See, I was way below.
150 million, which is just amazing. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, there's been a lot of blockbuster sequels that have made that. Like the Star Wars films, of course, the Indiana Jones films, but And another scene I liked in Top Gun Maverick was the scene where Maverick went to Iceman's house to have a heart-to-heart.
Yeah.
And that gave me a tear in my eye. And Val Kilmer's really sick. And you can tell he was sick in the film. But he was standing strong, did a few lines. That just gave me a tear in my eye.
He's such a phenomenal actor. He is, and I'm so glad that they, like you said, were able to put him in because it's hard for him to even talk at this point in time. So it was just great, heartfelt.
And then let's talk about Goose's son in the film, Rooster, how him and Maverick had a huge falling out. They're still fighting and fighting because of Goose's death, and Maverick, 36 years today, still won't let that go about the passing of Goose.
Yeah, that was another emotional, and you could really tell how Tom Cruise was affected by just him being there and how he really watched over him, almost like he was his own son.
I think so too. And I'm going to ask you, David, since there's a new crop of pilots in the film, fighter pilots, at the Top Gun school, because Maverick went back to being an instructor again to teach these young pilots because they're going on this deadly mission. They're either going to go in, come home safely, or maybe not. But who was your favorite pilot in the film, and what was so intriguing that you liked him so much?
Bob, because he's a weapons specialist, and that's about it. Robin. That's
all about Bob. What about the line, where they were in a bar and they're playing pool and they're like, Bob, where were you at? I've been here the whole time. Come on. I mean, Bob is good at stealth, man.
Yeah.
Bob's got that little quirky geekiness about him, which I kind of liked as well. Of all the fighter pilots in the film, who was your favorite?
I'm going to be honest with you. It's got to be Bob, and I only say it because David likes Bob. That is it. That's the only reason why.
So, no, but okay. Everybody likes Bob.
I like Bob.
What about Bob?
What about Bob?
That's a great movie, too. But, I mean, I liked Bob's quirkiness, and I liked how whenever Bob was on the screen, David would laugh, and he liked him, so of course.
Well, another pilot I liked Hangman. Mm-hmm. Hangman was cool. He was young, smooth, cocky, thought he was the greatest pilot in the whole United States Navy. I love it because it kind of reminded me of a young Iceman.
Yeah. And
then when you had Rooster, Goose's son, they had that rivalry like they did, back in '86 when Maverick and Iceman had that, rivalry. It was good, but it was like a good, clean rivalry. It wasn't like a hateful rivalry.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they still liked each other.
I would think that actually that would be similar to what the fighter pilots experience today, because it's so competitive, and that they would have to compete not just with their own scores and their own timings and their own being able to hit the target, but they would also have to compete against themselves, but not into a way it becomes unfriendly, because in order to be successful in fighting, is that you have to know how each other works in fighting. So you have to be a family and really familiar with each other's moves. I just think that, honestly, that this is the best movie in a number of years that have come out. And like I said, I think it's a movie that we need right now in America, and show our strength and our pride. And the movie also had just such great character development. It was just really neat to see these new pilots, because I've seen the first one and then the second one, when they start introducing everyone, you think, oh, are they going to be as good as like Iceman, and are they going to be as good as the other ones? And I like how they became their own, and just how they developed through the movie.
Another thing is, when they were training for that tough mission, they had to fly through these like sharp turns in these caverns, and then fly straight up to fight the G-force. Yeah. And they go into enemy territory, David. So they go in to try to destroy. What were they destroying?
They were trying to destroy a little uranium storage plant, and they had to two groups had to perform two miracles, one each. And one of them was they have to hit the container up above the surface, and then they had to hit the storage plant underground, the container storage. So
when we see the bad guys, all you see them are more higher advanced jets, or more faster and powerful than the F-18s. You just see them wearing dark helmets. So do you think in the movie, they were mentioning that they were going in there to destroy certain stuff from Russia? Do you think they were Russian pilots they went up against?
Yes, because of the climate that they were in. Because Russia is in a much colder climate, and then the mission took place in a colder climate. So I believe it is Russian.
And I loved it when Maverick led the crew into enemy territory, and I loved it where Goose's son Rooster was his wingman when they were flying in there. And so when Maverick was going in there to get the main targets, they were flying back out, and they were getting shot by the air to ground missiles, and then the SAMs, and then Maverick gets hit and he crashes in enemy territory. And then you're like, oh crap, what's going to happen? And then the next thing you know, Rooster wasn't, listening to orders, Goose's son. So he decided to go in to try to save Maverick. Boom. He gets hit and crashes. So now they're sitting there arguing in enemy territory, but they finally, forgave each other, because of, his father, Goose. And here's my favorite scene of the part is when they were running, because they destroyed the enemy airfield. So they found a jet. So they sneak in and they find an F-14 Tomcat. Oh my gosh, I was geeking out. Those were the jets they flew in Top Gun back in '86. And when Maverick saw that, his eyes lit up. He's like, let's get this going. And when they were getting in, he was looking at the panels and everything. He's like, let's see if I can remember how to fly this. So he pops in, and then Goose's son Rooster pops in the gunner seat, and they start flying away. And they start flying, and then Maverick looks at Rooster and goes, "Hey, call the aircraft carrier, let them know what's going on." It's like, I don't know where the
radar switches, because there's at least 300 switches.
And then I love his funny remark. He goes like this. He goes, well, Goose knew where that was at.
And that was funny. It was like he was flying in an antique. What Rooster had thought about it. It just was great. I love the whole movie. Again, with the character development. And then the other thing I liked is how they brought, like you had mentioned, some of the old characters back, like Val Kilmer, but then also Ed Harris. He was in the movie too, and one of the original captains. Now, Jon Hamm was not in the original movie, but I liked his character in this because he was the adversary in it. So kind of Tom Cruise's like rival in terms of the military goes.
Yeah, because he was really jealous of Maverick anyway, and he just didn't understand why Maverick just stayed as a captain, didn't want to move up, and they were trying to make him retire, but he refuses to retire, so he's getting these ultimatums. But finally, he kind of opened his eyes and decided to give Maverick a chance.
Yeah, I think with another factor with Jon Hamm was that that because Tom Cruise Maverick was such a wild card, and that if Tom Cruise screwed up, it would have been Jon Hamm's career. So because he would be the one under his command. So I think he just felt like he couldn't trust him, and he didn't like the risks that Maverick would take. But that's exactly what Maverick does, is he's a risk taker. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the movie.
Yeah, and another cool thing about it is through all the years too, since Iceman was an admiral, he kind of protected Maverick through his career as well to make sure nothing bad happened to Maverick.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because, but he understood Maverick because I think he understood Maverick because he fought side by side with him. It's like you really learn a person when you have to, you have to trust them enough that they're going to save your life in battle, so that they fought side by side. So that's where it was that ultimate trust, and that he knew Tom Cruise knew that Tom Cruise did things for the right reasons and not for the reasons of just showing off. Or Jon Hamm, I think, originally looked at him as a risk taker, but once he could see Tom Cruise and what it was about the mission, then he was like, all right, I'm going to risk my career to put you in this position.
I also loved it how Iceman, sat with Maverick at his house, tell him he needed to bury the hatchet with Goose's son. Yep. Because Goose's son was mad because he was going into the Naval Academy, and then Maverick pulled him out made it 4 years behind for him, and he didn't understand why he did that. And do you think the reason why he did that? Do you think Maverick didn't think Goose's son was ready, or
correct? Because Tom Cruise Maverick. He would make a move, or he would make a decision based off of facts. He wasn't an emotional decision maker, so he would feel like he needs to learn some more skills and just be in here because he wants him to be a strong pilot, and that's what it is.
All right, David, tell me some of your favorite scenes in the film that you really enjoyed.
Well, when they were fighting one of the enemy pilots with the F-14, and then the enemy plane did this cool maneuver to trick the heat-seeking missile. Now without using like with those flares that they have on the plane, he did this quick weird swing around, and they'd never seen it before. And also what signals they tried to communicate with them, and they didn't know what those signals even meant.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's pretty wild. I love David going with us, man. He's this young 12-year-old kid going in, doesn't know anything about Top Gun or Maverick. He's never seen the original film, but you can still see the new film. The young people can still see the new film and enjoy it. But if you really want to get more to understand a little bit more of Maverick, you should watch the original film first.
Absolutely. Just the ingenuity behind everything is just, again, it just makes you, I don't know, now I want to be a fighter pilot. That's what I want to be.
And then also back in '86, since Top Gun was so popular, it got a lot of huge recruitment for United States Navy. It was like 500% back in the day. So do you think since Maverick came out, do you think it's going to be a high percentage of recruitment to be fighter pilots in the Navy?
I think that there will be, and it will be influential. Yes, I do. Not just for the Navy, but all the Air Force or all the forces.
So do you think some of the recruiters are going to hang out at some of the theaters to try to recruit some young men and women?
I absolutely think so. They've already said that they are. So, which I think is great. I think, again, it just is a good display of what we can do in terms of Americans, that we truly are the best country in the world.
Amen to that. If there was an American flag right here, right now, I would so be saluting that right now.
Absolutely.
It's like you got to, and I'm like you. I think I'm gonna go see it again.
Definitely.
I mean, it was just so good. Mm-hmm. And after we went and saw it on Thursday, your son David and Tyler, I went back to watch the original film again too.
I did too. I did too.
So when I got home from the theater, I got into my big movie collection, popped in the original Top Gun, and watched it again just for the heck of it. Because when I was leaving, man, I was just so pumped up and excited after seeing that movie. It really did take my breath away.
That's good. Yes, it takes my breath away. Yes, it did. And I did too. I've watched the original now. It's on Netflix if you don't have ownership of the actual CD and the disc. But yeah, it was such a fantastic movie. It's literally the best movie I think in years. So,
yeah, I have to agree with my mom.
well, thank you for saying that.
Oh, you're welcome. Robin, what was your favorite character?
My favorite character in the film? Well, I said it earlier in the episode. I'll tell you again. I liked Hangman. I mean, he was fun. He was cocky. I just loved the character about him. He had my attention through the whole movie. I was like, okay, it kind of reminds me of Young Iceman. What's he going to do next? Is he going to try to, outsmart, Maverick? Or he's going to go do his own rules like Maverick, going, okay, I'm going to do my own rules if Maverick can. Mm-hmm. And I love the part when the first day of, flight training, Maverick told all the young pilots, if you guys can beat me in drills and all that, the dogfight drills, I will do 200 push-ups. and these guys were laughing, going, this is going to be easy. So he took all the members of the Top Gun class out, so you see them doing these push-ups on the runway. They're all doing 200 push-ups. So after they did those 200 push-ups, man, they got a little jacked.
Oh, they did, absolutely. That was, I think the dog fight scenes are my favorite, honestly, in the movie, because there's just, and that whole sequence right there, that really got my attention. So, or kept my attention.
Well, the whole film was great, and Top Gun Maverick was worth it. I'm glad they did it.
Thank you, Tom Cruise.
Yeah, thank you, Tom Cruise, because in starting the film, before you watch the movie, he was saying, thank you to all the, movie producers or directors, the cast, to make this film possible. And I love how he was staring at, he was talking to us in the theater, saying thank you, and he.
Yeah, I like how he paid homage like that, and you could tell that he was appreciative. And I don't know, if you haven't seen the movie, you definitely have to go see it. If you see the movie, I hope that it resonates with you like it did for us, in terms of just being proud again, and what we can do as Americans, and showing the pride and our ingenuity and what our men and women can do, and that they're called to service, because it's service before self. That's exactly what it is, and that they put their lives on the lines every day for us, and we appreciate it so much.
I think so too, and this is our review of Top Gun Maverick. I mean, there's going to be other people, reviewing too as well. We did a little spoilers too, but most reviews are kind of like that. So you got to be careful, what reviews you read, because sometimes, if you go to the big movie reviewers, they talk about the whole film, like how we did. We only talked bits and pieces of it, but you guys still should go see Top Gun Maverick. It's really, really worth it. Christina and David, thank you for coming on. It was fun.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Robin.
And poor Tyler, he would have been having fun on here with us. He'd been sitting there be like this, amen, Robin.
Absolutely.
How's that big smile?
Yeah, he's in the Navy Reserve, so he.
Yeah, he's in the Navy. And when we're in the theater, he was really enjoying it too, because at first, he was afraid it wasn't going to be as good as the original because I think he was going to nitpick at the film, but he didn't.
He didn't. He was like, "Yep, all right, this is a great movie."
And he came out smiling, and plus he's in the Navy Reserves too.
He's proud of his Navy.
So everybody have a great evening, great week. You can listen to Horror Pop After Midnight on roostersradio.com, Rooster Radio, every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Please like our Facebook page, Horror Pop After Midnight, to see what's coming up next for me in the world of, horror and pop culture. Send me a message on the Facebook page and let me know what you want me to talk about, or if there's something you've never heard that anybody's ever mentioned on a podcast about anything in the world of pop culture or horror. Just let me know. If you're in the Twitter, you can follow me at Horror Pop After Midnight at Pop After. I'm also on Instagram at Horror Pop After Midnight. And you can hear my recent episodes of Horror Pop After Midnight on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and all those great podcast platforms out there. Everybody have a great night.